Be me, systems architect for data stream innovations, overseeing the Metro Central municipality's critical infrastructure grid. Think traffic flow, smart lighting, environmental sensors, the entire digital nervous system of a major city. My domain is distributed automation, a beautiful dance of data and control, intricate and precise. I live by protocols, policies, and the quiet hum of perfectly optimized systems. Be not me. Eric Vance, the self-proclaimed visionary lead for Fusion Networks. They were a boutique consultancy, somehow awarded the contract to optimize and modernize components of our existing setup. Eric was pure ego, wrapped in an expensive suit with a smirk that promised disaster. He thought he could waltz in and rewrite the rulebook, bypassing decades of best practices. He believed our systems were antiquated, and his revolutionary solutions were the only path forward. Eric's first demand landed on my desk a week after Fusion Networks started. He wanted full administrator-level access, root privileges, to the entire subgrid Alpha network. This network managed the city's emergency vehicle routing and public transit signaling. His justification: to better integrate our proprietary analytics engine. The phrasing was vague, the request utterly insane. My job was to protect that network. I politely, firmly declined. I cited Section 3.21 of our service level agreement with Metro Central, specifically outlining restricted access protocols for third-party vendors. I pointed to DataStream's internal vendor interface policy v3.12b, which strictly limited external access points and required two-factor authentication for even basic monitoring roles. Eric scoffed. He called my refusal obstructionist and old-fashioned. He emailed my director, copying his own, alleging I was impeding progress. My director, bless her methodical heart, backed me up, simply forwarding Eric her own copy of the same policies. I kept a record of every email, every interaction. The archive started growing. Eric didn't back down. 2 days later, he strode into the primary server room, a place requiring level 4 security clearance and explicit approval for entry. He was carrying a worn, unlabeled USB drive. He demanded I let him plug it directly into the core domain controller, claiming it contained essential diagnostic utilities. He said it would drastically speed up our analysis phase. He ignored the prominent, no unauthorized devices signage, the blinking red lights on the security cameras, and my immediate horrified objection. "Mr. Vance," I said, my voice carefully even, "you cannot introduce unverified hardware into this environment. It violates every cybersecurity protocol we have. Our ISO 27001 certification depends on strict adherence to device management policies." He just waved his hand dismissively. "Relax, it's just a USB. What's the big deal? Are you afraid of progress?" He tried to physically push past me. I put my hand up, gently but firmly blocking his path. I reiterated the rules. I called security. He finally relented, seething, but not before accusing me of technological cowardice. I immediately filed a detailed incident report, attaching timestamped security camera footage. Another entry in the burgeoning dossier. Then came the true breaking point. About a month into Fusion Networks' optimization efforts, Eric started fabricating performance issues. He claimed our traffic flow algorithms were experiencing unacceptable latency spikes, and that the smart streetlights were flickering inconsistently. He insisted these were critical failures, demanding an immediate, unscheduled firmware update across the entire grid. He provided a package when he claimed Fusion Networks had refined and certified. I looked at the package. It was a generic build not certified by DataStream and contained several unfamiliar scripts. My team's rigorous staging environment showed no latency issues, no flickering. In fact, our systems were operating at peak efficiency. I explained to Eric that any system-wide firmware update required a minimum 2-week testing cycle in a simulated environment, followed by a phased rollout. This was standard practice, codified in our change management protocol CM-4. He dismissed it as red tape. He then bypassed me entirely, going straight to a junior technician on my team, a young guy named Kevin who was intimidated by Eric's bluster. Eric ordered Kevin to grant him temporary admin access to a specific network segment, the critical city traffic control hubs. He then used that access to plug his infamous USB drive directly into the primary control console for Subgrid Alpha, bypassing the network's isolated update channels. I watched it unfold on the security feed from my office, a cold dread settling in. He initiated the update, pushing his refined package directly to hundreds of traffic signal controllers across the city. This was precisely what led to the St. Louis County Library outage, not with libraries but with traffic lights. An unspecified system issue, the reports would say. But I knew exactly what system issue. My heart pounded, but my mind was already in read-only mode. The trap was set, triggered by his own arrogant hands. The moment he initiated the update, I knew. It wasn't just a corrupted update package. His USB contained a payload that, when executed, forced the system to interpret a critical timing variable as 0. Every traffic light, every public transit switch, every emergency override became a perfectly synchronized, utterly useless green light. Or red light, or just dark, a citywide gridlock disaster. Chaos. Eric turned from the console, a triumphant smirk on his face, oblivious. There, see, no more latency. Optimized. Moments later, the control room started flashing red. Alarms blared. Kevin, pale as a ghost, pointed at the main status display. Sir, all subgrid alpha nodes are reporting critical failure, indeterminate state. We have no control. Eric's face drained of color. His smirk evaporated. He spun on me. What have you done? This is your system. Your incompetence has crashed the entire city. His voice was a panicked roar. I merely applied a fix. This is on you. My internal monologue was calm, clear. The plan, the meticulous, dangerous plan. On me, Mr. Vance, I asked, my voice dangerously soft. Let's review the timeline, shall we? I opened my laptop, connected to the overhead projector, and began. At 9:17 this morning, I received an email from you, copied to Kevin and our respective directors, demanding immediate implementation of your unverified firmware update for Subgrid Alpha, citing fabricated performance issues. The email appeared on screen, time-stamped, complete with his digital signature. At 9:23, I replied, reiterating DataStream's Change Management Protocol CM-4, which mandates a 2-week testing period and phased rollout. I explicitly warned against deploying unverified packages and bypassing standard procedures due to the critical nature of the traffic management systems. My reply email, clear and unequivocal, flashed on the screen. At 9:45, security camera footage, which I've already shared with Director Chen, shows you verbally coercing Kevin, a junior technician, into granting you temporary administrative access to the primary control console. This was a direct circumvention of my authority and a violation of access control policy, a C-7. The grainy but clear footage played, showing Eric's aggressive posture, Kevin's visible discomfort. At 9:51, the same footage shows you inserting an unauthorized USB device directly into the control console. This violates vendor interface policy V3.12b and directly contradicts my explicit warning from last month regarding the introduction of unverified hardware. The USB drive, clearly visible, going into the port. At 9:52, your command line interface logs, which are automatically mirrored, show you initiating the corrupted firmware push directly to all subgrid alpha nodes, bypassing our isolated staging environment and quality assurance checks. The text logs scrolled, showing the exact command, the user ID attributed to the temporary admin access granted to Eric. And now, Mr. Vance, I concluded, pointing at the catastrophic system failure on the main display. At 10:01, the entire city's traffic management system is down. Every traffic light is dark, public transit is stalled, and emergency services cannot route effectively. You forced this decision. You executed it. Every step was against policy, against protocol, and against my documented warnings. Eric sputtered, his face a mask of disbelief and rage. This is a setup. You let this happen. You maliciously complied. I looked him dead in the eye. I followed every rule. I documented every deviation. I warned you repeatedly. My job is to maintain the integrity of this system and protect the city. Your job was to optimize and modernize, not to unleash chaos. You created this disaster, Mr. Vance. I simply ensured there was an undeniable record of your actions. The fallout was immediate and spectacular. Within minutes, the City Emergency Management Office declared a state of localized emergency. Police were scrambling to manual traffic control, but it was too little, too late. News helicopters were already circling, showing the gridlocked streets. Director Chen arrived, her face grim. She didn't even look at me. She went straight to Eric. Mr. Vance, I've just been on the phone with the city manager, the mayor's office, and our legal team. Metro Central Municipality is filing a lawsuit against Fusion Networks for gross negligence, breach of contract, and damages that will amount to tens of millions. Your access to all data stream systems is revoked. You are to vacate these premises immediately. Our security will escort you out. Eric tried to protest, to blame me, but Director Chen simply held up a hand. The evidence is overwhelming, Eric. Our systems recorded everything. His logs, your emails, the security footage, it's all there. You refused to follow basic procedure and caused a public safety crisis. Eric, defeated, red-faced, was led away, his expensive suit looking suddenly very small. Update, Week 1. Fusion Networks' contract with Metro Central was terminated without severance. The city's legal department issued a freeze on all their assets. My team worked tirelessly for 72 hours straight to restore full functionality, a process that involved meticulously rolling back Eric's corrupted firmware and patching the exploit his USB had introduced. The city manager held a press conference, praising Data Stream for its rapid response and unwavering commitment to public safety, carefully omitting the part about the external vendor causing the issue, though the implication was clear. Update Month 2. Fusion Networks declared bankruptcy. The lawsuit effectively vaporized any remaining assets they had. Turns out Eric had been pulling similar stunts in smaller municipalities, but without a competent systems architect to document his every move, he'd always managed to shift blame or escape with a slap on the wrist. Not this time. Update, Month 6. I heard Eric Vance is now working as a digital marketing consultant for a local landscaping company, presumably far away from anything resembling critical infrastructure. My director gave me a commendation and a significant bonus. She also ensured that my department's vendor interaction policy was updated to include a mandatory pre-screening and background check for all lead vendor personnel. Eric Vance's legacy. The grid is humming again, pristine and secure, and my archive, full of timestamps and detailed reports, stands ready for the next visionary.